So let's move on. Month-to-month fee. Great. So I mentioned earlier that all of our leases are pretty much 12-month right off the bat. And then sometimes it's not always 12-month. I'll take that back. Sometimes, like if we're doing something, if it's like later in the year, like September, October, and I don't want my rental to come up next year, like during that time frame, because later in the year it gets a little bit harder, especially in our areas where we have all four seasons and it becomes cold and there's winter and there's snow. Well, I know in some other states, you guys don't get those things, so it may not be the same, but I want to make sure that they come up in the springtime here. So I might do a short 7-month lease initially just to get them into spring, and then do either month to month, or I will do another 12-month lease from there just to put them in the right time of the year when that lease expires. But regardless, after the 12 months, and they go month to month, if they choose to do this, typically this is called a holdover clause. If you ever see a lease, it's a holdover clause. And typically a holdover clause will have some form of payment, like it'll be an additional X amount, just a fixed rate extra per month. If you choose month to month, some people even put percentages in there, like 3% or a 5% increase in the rent. So either way, you can put in a clause if somebody wants to do month to month, just to make it, in a sense, make it harder for them to continue to do month to month, and more push them towards signing another 12-month lease so they don't have this additional monthly rent payment. Now, the one thing I want to make sure that you guys understand is on a month to month, check your area. Again, check the legal restrictions. But in the state of Missouri, for instance, when people are on a month to month, all they have to do is give you a 30-day notice to move out. Now, that's kind of dangerous because, like I said earlier, if you've got rental property somewhere where you have all four seasons and somebody comes along in the middle of November or the middle of December, for instance, and says, I'm giving you 30 days notice, they can really make it inconvenient for you and make your vacancy longer because of the time of the year they choose to vacate. Whereas if it was a 12-month lease, then you can dictate when the end of the lease is from the lease period. So that's just something to keep in mind, that, if you want to do month to month, again, you don't have to. You don't have to have a holdover clause. You can just strictly say, this is a 12-month lease and I don't accept any month to month. Either you're on a 12-month lease or you don't rent from us. So that's perfectly fine. It all depends upon your policies and your procedures.